Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to another post with some fiction. I like to explore ideas in the context of fiction. I've sometimes wondered if, when evil concentrates, it sends out a distress signal, like a radio antenna, and certain types of people will tune in to that signal. What I know is that there is something about the telescope in Mauna Kea that native Hawaiians do not like. Perhaps they are not sure why they don't like it, but they know that something evil has taken up residence in a place that is holy. Perhaps they've tuned in to a distress signal. Since I'm a novelist, I like to speculate about the cause of such a reaction. Hawaii would be an excellent magnet for ambitious young scientists who just want to get away from the scientific establishment in the States. They've completed their graduate education and they are disgusted by the restrictions on what they can do and say. So they take a job in Hawaii, staring at the stars. What could be more innocent than that? Well, for one thing, they might be looking at more than the stars with their telescopes, and not every escapee from the mainland may be given leave to do so. If they have broken a rule and attempted to hide out in a remote astronomy outpost, punishment may await them in their island paradise. Sweet tropical Hawaii, a trap for apostates. Recall that I'm in fiction mode here. Whenever innocents are punished, the volcano gods are angered by their distress calls. Perhaps Hawaiians know this in their bones, and this drives them to protest the origin of these distressed signals. Mauna Kea Observatory. I will tell the story of a young man's journey to Mauna Kea and beyond. Perhaps a star is named after him after he loses his soul in the volcano. This sort of story could be dangerous in the present day because of the weirdness of cults like QAnon and the difficulty that many people have with separating fiction and fact. It worries me greatly that there are people who think that all academics and scientists are child molesters, and that their mysterious experiments are used to hide horrible child abuse done as part of satanic rituals in hidden tunnels filled with technology and occult signals. The trouble is that there is a teeny tiny grain of truth in these sorts of speculations, and one must acknowledge that truth in order to defuse the volcano of nonsense. To be clear, there are no small children being abused in hidden tunnels supervised by academics wearing black Satanist robes. I mean, I've worked in government labs and I can assure you of that. But there are naive 20-year-olds who are overworking themselves on pointless experiments conducted in hidden tunnels and on remote mountaintops. They wear black robes when they graduate from an academic program. They use occult symbols that we call mathematics, and their inner children are surely suffering from this abuse. This may sound like I am joking, but I don't think I am. We have figurative things that are occurring deep down in hot, emotional magma chambers, and they are bubbling to the surface where conspiracy theorists misinterpret the smoke-covered situation in an overly literal fashion. If we want people to be less vulnerable to this sort of confusion and the corresponding distress, we need to help them understand that their fears are coming from real things that they are sensing on a figurative level, but that they are not able to interpret literally because they lack the proper context. These conspiracy theorists are afraid of something genuine. It just isn't literally what they have described, as in the figurative situation isn't nearly as bad as they think the situation is, literally, but it is still bad. The children being abused are in their 20s, and they are not being sexually abused, merely mentally abused through miseducation. And those doing the miseducating have been miseducated themselves, so the situation isn't really their fault. So what should we do with these emotional volcanoes of conspiracy and fear of elitism? You can let the volcano erupt and allow chaos to burn all of the conspiracy theorists to a crisp. You can put on a show that makes the conspiracy theorists believe that they have taken part in something real and valuable to fix the problem. Or you can release the pressure gradually by bringing out all of the hidden bad actors within the system and making them face justice where everyone can see them. I mean, I don't mean guillotines, of course, we are better than that, but I do mean publicly showing people behaving badly and showing that we know it and that they're going to be punished for it. Maybe public trials of people who've dedicated their lives to protecting things that hurt people, a system that hurt people. I think the system needs to let off some steam, and perhaps that's what we saw recently when people stormed the congressional halls. Thankfully, nothing real came of that, and the system corrected itself. I think that's wonderful. There are the people who if we look at the people who have committed crimes over the past years, we have people who put immigrant children in cages, people who abused their authority and persecuted minority groups, people who did dangerous research, people who wasted thousands of people's time on nonsense, and there are people who try to steal and profit off of those who don't have money to spare. And I'm sure we could find lots of offenders. Am I suggesting a witch hunt? Not really. I mean, maybe a very carefully planned, modern judicial witch hunt that doesn't involve any violence would be a good idea. If public shame is the only punishment, I think such an exercise would be quite civilized, and it would require a coordinated effort on the part of the media. It would be important to time such an exercise such that it didn't correspond with any disorder, of course. Public order is very important. The pressure in the volcano grows when shame is hidden. That hidden shame makes people nervous, and the media's focus on scapegoating only Trump and his supporters, it comes across as a little bit myopic or childish and, kind of stupid to those who are feeling a pressure that they can't explain without help. They sense that the pressure is systematic. They don't know where to lay the blame, and they know that blaming just one person or one group isn't going to do anyone any good. It would be a pity if innocents were blamed for these pressures simply because they look different. I mean, I think of people like my husband. He works at a lab and he's, an innocent sort of person. But viewed through the eyes of a person who has never worked in the sort of environment that shaped him, he probably looks quite strange. I also think of myself. I mean, I'm sure that I look weird and foreign to all of the Germans I meet in my community. I mean, this is all fiction, and this is what you do. You're making fiction whenever you start to speculate. And in the scientific community, speculation is a sin. But if you want to understand how the world works these days, you do have to use speculative thinking to strategize and give weights to uncertain variables in a network of associations. You know, you can't see everything, and if you're trying to see a little bit further past, you know, just the immediate surroundings, you have to speculate a little bit and be a little bit skeptical of everything you see, because not everything is what it seems to be. All I really know is that fear has to go somewhere, and I've dumped my fear into this little post here, this little video, and I hope that it reduces fear for someone else who is feeling blinded amidst situations that seem incomprehensible. I mean, nobody likes to be kept in the dark, even if they're allowed to look at the stars. And so that's why I feel compassion for all of the people who have gotten swept up in, you know, all of these conspiracy theories. They're just trying to see in the dark. And they know there's stuff there that they are not allowed to see, and it makes them nervous. And I don't blame them. And I'm not sure it's fair to punish them for that, or to even make fun of them, because they're just, you know, they're just tuning in to things that they're not supposed to notice, but that they do notice. And they're most certainly giving them a wrong impression, a wrong interpretation. Just as in all of my posts where I'm speculating about how, you know, this Mr. and Mrs. Randall business, and about how the people, what motivates people who steal, you know, I'm just speculating because I am in the dark. I really don't know who is out there. Are they safe, or are they, you know, am I looking at Buffalo Bill like Clarice Starling in The Silence of the Lambs? So this post is, I think, just mainly to try to encourage people to be compassionate towards those who are in the dark, but who are still trying to see what's there and guess what's there. Thank you for watching. Until next time, please tune in for my next videos.